Book 43, Oppressions. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Allah's Apostle said, when the believers pass safely over the bridge across hell, they will be stopped at a bridge in between hell and paradise, where they will retaliate upon each other for the injustices done among them in the world, and when they get purified of all their sins, they will be admitted into paradise. By him in whose hands the life of Muhammad is, everybody will recognize his dwelling in paradise better than he recognizes his dwelling in this world. Narrated Safwan bin Muraz al-Mazini, while I was walking with Ibn Ammar holding his hand, a man came in front of us and asked, "What have you heard from Allah's Apostle about an-Najwa?" Ibn Ammar said, "I heard Allah's Apostle saying, Allah will bring a believer near him and shelter him with his screen and ask him, 'Did you commit such and such sins?' He will say, 'Yes, my Lord.' Allah will keep on asking him till he will confess all his sins and will think that he is ruined. Allah will say, 'I did screen your sins in the world and I forgive them for you today,' and then he will be given the book of his good deeds. Regarding infidels and hypocrites, their evil acts will be exposed publicly, and the witnesses will say, 'These are the people who lied against their Lord.' Behold, the curse of Allah is upon the wrongdoers." 11.18 Narrated Abdullah bin Ammar, Allah's Apostle said, "A Muslim is a brother of another Muslim, so he should not oppress him, nor should he hand him over to an oppressor. Whoever fulfilled the needs of his brother, Allah will fulfill his needs. Whoever brought his Muslim brother out of a discomfort, Allah will bring him out of the discomforts of the day of resurrection, and whoever screened a Muslim, Allah will screen him on the day of resurrection." Narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's Apostle said, "Help your brother, whether he is an oppressor or he is an oppressed one." Narrated Anas, Allah's Apostle said, "Help your brother, whether he is an oppressor or he is an oppressed one." People asked, "O Allah's Apostle, it is all right to help him if he is oppressed, but how should we help him if he is an oppressor?" The Prophet said, "By preventing him from oppressing others." Narrated Mu'awiyah bin Sawald, I heard Al-Bara bin Azib saying, "The Prophet orders us to do 7 things and prohibited us from doing 7 other things." Then Al-Bara mentioned the following: 1. To pay a visit to the sick, inquiring about his health. 2. To follow funeral processions. 3. To say to a sneezer, "May Allah be merciful to you," if he says, "Praise be to Allah." 4. To return greetings. 5. To help the oppressed. 6. To accept invitations. 7. To help others to fulfill their oaths. See Hadith number 753, Volume 7. Narrated Abu Musa, the Prophet said, "A believer to another believer is like a building whose different parts enforce each other." The Prophet then clasped his hands with the fingers interlaced, while saying that. Narrated Ibn Ammar, the Prophet said, "Oppression will be a darkness on the day of resurrection." Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet sent Mu'ad to Yemen and said, "Be afraid from the curse of the oppressed, as there is no screen between his invocation and Allah." Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, "Whoever has oppressed another person concerning his reputation or anything else, he should beg him to forgive him before the day of resurrection, when there will be no money to compensate for wrong deeds, but if he has good deeds, those good deeds will be taken from him according to his oppression which he has done, and if he has no good deeds, the sins of the oppressed person will be loaded on him." Narrated Aisha, regarding the explanation of the following verse: "If a wife fears cruelty or desertion on her husband's part." 4.128 A man may dislike his wife and intend to divorce her, so she says to him, "I give up my rights, so do not divorce me." The above verse was revealed concerning such a case. Narrated Sal bin Sa'd as-Sadi, a drink, milk mixed with water, was brought to Allah's Apostle, who drank some of it. A boy was sitting to his right, and some old men to his left. Allah's Apostle said to the boy, "Do you allow me to give the rest of the drink to these people?" The boy said, "O Allah's Apostle, I will not give preference to anyone over me to drink the rest of it from which you have drunk." Allah's Apostle then handed the bowl of drink to the boy. See Hadith number 541. Narrated Said bin Zaid, Allah's Apostle said, whoever usurps the land of somebody unjustly, his neck will be encircled with it down the 7 earths, on the day of resurrection. Narrated Abu Salama, that there was a dispute between him and some people, about a piece of land. When he told Aisha about it, she said, "O Abu Salama, avoid taking the land unjustly, for the Prophet said, whoever usurps even one span of the land of somebody, his neck will be encircled with it down the 7 earths." Narrated Salim's father, that is Abdullah, the Prophet said, whoever takes a piece of the land of others unjustly, he will sink down the 7 earths on the day of resurrection. Narrated Jabala, we were in Medina with some of the Iraqi people, and we were struck with famine, and Ibn Zubayr used to give us dates. Ibn Ammar used to pass by and say, the Prophet forbade us to eat 2 dates at a time, unless one takes the permission of one's companions. Narrated Abu Mas'ud, there was an Ansari man called Abu Shu'aib who had a slave butcher. Abu Shu'aib said to him, prepare a meal sufficient for 5 persons so that I might invite the Prophet besides other 4 persons. Abu Shu'aib had seen the signs of hunger on the face of the Prophet, and so he invited him. Another man who was not invited, followed the Prophet. The Prophet said to Abu Shu'aib, this man has followed us. Do you allow him to share the meal? Abu Shu'aib said, yes. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet said, the most hated person in the sight of Allah is the most quarrelsome person. Narrated Salama, the wife of the Prophet, Allah's apostle heard some people quarreling at the door of his dwelling. He came out and said, I am only a human being, and opponents come to me, to settle their problems. Maybe someone amongst you can present his case more eloquently than the other, whereby I may consider him true and give a verdict in his favor. So, if I give the right of a Muslim to another by mistake, then it is really a portion of hell, fire, he has the option to take or give up, before the day of resurrection. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, the Prophet said, whoever has the following 4 characters will be a hypocrite, and whoever has one of the following 4 characteristics will have one characteristic of hypocrisy until he gives it up. These are, 1. Whenever he talks, he tells a lie. 2. Whenever he makes a promise, he breaks it. 3. Whenever he makes a covenant he proves treacherous. 4. And whenever he quarrels, he behaves impudently in an evil insulting manner. See Hadith number 33 volume 1. Narrated Aisha, Hind bint Utbah, Abu Sufyan's wife, came and said, O Allah's apostle, Abu Sufyan is a miser. Is there any harm if I spend something from his property for our children? He said, there is no harm for you if you feed them from it justly and reasonably, with no extravagance. Narrated Uqba bin Amir, we stayed to the Prophet, you send us out and it happens that we have to stay with such people as do not entertain us. What do you think about it? He said to us, if you stay with some people and they entertain you as they should for a guest, accept their hospitality, but if they don't do, take the right of the guest from them. Narrated Ammar, when Allah took away the soul of his Prophet at his death, the Ansar assembled in the shed of Bani Sa'idah. I said to Abu Bakr, let us go. So, we come to them, that is to Ansar, at the shed of Bani Sa'idah. See Hadith number 19, volume 5 for details. Narrated Al-Araj, Abu Hurairah said, Allah's apostle said, no one should prevent his neighbor from fixing a wooden peg in his wall. Abu Hurairah said, to his companions, why do I find you averse to it? By Allah, I certainly will narrate it to you. Narrated Anas, I was the butler of the people in the house of Abu Talha, and in those days drinks were prepared from dates. Allah's apostle ordered somebody to announce that alcoholic drinks had been prohibited. Abu Talha ordered me to go out and spill the wine. I went out and spilled it, and it flowed in the streets of Medina. Some people said, some people were killed and wine was still in their stomachs. On that the divine revelation came: on those who believe and do good deeds there is no blame for what they ate, in the past. 5.93 Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet said, beware. Avoid sitting on roads, ways. The people said, there is no way out of it as these are our sitting places where we have talks. The Prophet said, if you must sit there, then observe the rights of the way. They asked, "What are the rights of the way?" He said, "They are the lowering of your gazes, on seeing what is illegal to look at, refraining from harming people, returning greetings, advocating good and forbidding evil." Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "A man felt very thirsty while he was on the way. There he came across a well. He went down the well, quenched his thirst and came out. Meanwhile he saw a dog panting and licking mud because of excessive thirst. He said to himself, 'This dog is suffering from thirst as I did.' So, he went down the well again and filled his shoe with water and watered it. Allah thanked him for that deed and forgave him. The people said, 'O Allah's Apostle, is there a reward for us in serving the animals?' He replied, 'Yes, there is a reward for serving any animate, living being.'" See Hadith number 551. Narrated Usama bin Zayd, "Once the Prophet stood at the top of one of the castles, or higher buildings, of Medina and said, 'Do you see what I see? No doubt I am seeing the spots of afflictions amongst your houses as numerous as the spots where raindrops fall, during a heavy rain.'" See Hadith no. 102. Narrated Abdullah bin Abbas, "I had been eager to ask Ammar about the two ladies from among the wives of the Prophet regarding whom Allah said, in the Quran saying, 'If you two, wives of the Prophet namely Aisha and Hafsa, turn in repentance to Allah your hearts are indeed so inclined, to oppose what the Prophet likes.' 66.4. Till performed the Hajj along with Ammar, and on our way back from Hajj, he went aside, to answer the call of nature, and I also went aside along with him carrying a tumbler of water. When he had answered the call of nature and returned, I poured water on his hands from the tumbler and he performed ablution. I said, "O chief of the believers, who are the two ladies from among the wives of the Prophet to whom Allah said, 'If you two return in repentance'" 66.4. He said, "I am astonished at your question, O Ibn Abbas. They were Aisha and Hafsa." Then Ammar went on relating the narration and said, "I and an Ansari neighbor of mine from Bani Umayyah bin Zayd who used to live in Awli al-Madinah, used to visit the Prophet in turns. He used to go one day, and I another day. When I went I would bring him the news of what had happened that day regarding the instructions and orders, and when he went, he used to do the same for me. We, the people of Quraysh, used to have authority over women, but when he came to live with the Ansar, we noticed that the Ansari women had the upper hand over their men, so our women started acquiring the habits of the Ansari women. Once I shouted at my wife and she paid me back in my coin, and I disliked that she should answer me back. She said, 'Why do you take it ill that I retort upon you?' By Allah, the wives of the Prophet retort upon him, and some of them may not speak with him for the whole day till night. What she said scared me, and I said to her, 'Whoever amongst them does so, will be a great loser.' Then I dressed myself and went to Hafsa and asked her, 'Does any of you keep Allah's Apostle angry all the day long till night?' She replied in the affirmative. I said, 'She is a ruined losing person, and will never have success. Doesn't she fear that Allah may get angry for the anger of Allah's Apostle, and thus she will be ruined? Don't ask Allah's Apostle too many things, and don't retort upon him in any case, and don't desert him. Demand from me whatever you like, and don't be tempted to imitate your neighbor, that is Aisha, in her behavior towards the Prophet, for she, that is Aisha, is more beautiful than you, and more beloved to Allah's Apostle.'" In those days it was rumored that Ghassan, a tribe living in Sham, was getting prepared their horses to invade us. My companion went to the Prophet on the day of his turn, went and returned to us at night and knocked at my door violently, asking whether I was sleeping. I was scared by the hard knocking, and came out to him. He said that a great thing had happened. I asked him, "What is it? Have Ghassan come?" He replied that it was worse and more serious than that, and added that Allah's Apostle had divorced all his wives. I said, "Hafsa is a ruined loser." I expected that would happen someday. So I dressed myself and offered the Fajr prayer with the Prophet. Then the Prophet entered an upper room and stayed there alone. I went to Hafsa and found her weeping. I asked her, "Why are you weeping?" Didn't I warn you? Have Allah's apostle divorced you all? She replied, I don't know. He is there in the upper room. I then went out and came to the pulpit and found a group of people around it, and some of them were weeping. Then I sat with them for some time, but could not endure the situation. So I went to the upper room where the Prophet was and requested to a black slave of his, will you get the permission of Allah's apostle, for Ammar, to enter? The slave went in, talked to the Prophet about it and came out saying, I mentioned you to him, but he did not reply. So, I went and sat with the people who were sitting by the pulpit, but I could not bear the situation, so I went to the slave again and said, will you get he permission for Ammar? He went in and brought the same reply as before. When I was leaving, behold, the slave called me saying, Allah's apostle has granted you permission. So, I entered upon the Prophet and saw him lying on a mat without wedding on it, and the mat had left its mark on the body of the Prophet, and he was leaning on a leather pillow stuffed with palm fires. I greeted him, and while still standing, I said, have you divorced your wives? He raised his eyes to me and replied in the negative. And then while still standing, I said chatting, will you heed what I say, O Allah's apostle? We, the people of Quraysh, used to have the upper hand over our women, wives, and when he came to the people whose women had the upper hand over them, Ammar told the whole story, about his wife. On that the Prophet smiled. Ammar further said, I then said, I went to Hafsa and said to her, do not be tempted to imitate your companion, Aisha, for she is more beautiful than you and more beloved to the Prophet. The Prophet smiled again. When I saw him smiling, I sat down and cast a glance at the room, and by Allah, I couldn't see anything of importance but 3 hides. I said, to Allah's apostle, invoke Allah to make your followers prosperous, for the Persians and the Byzantines have been made prosperous and given worldly luxuries, though they do not worship Allah. The Prophet was leaning then, and on hearing my speech he sat straight, and said, O Ibn al-Khattab, do you have any doubt that the hereafter is better than this world? These people have been given rewards of their good deeds in this world only. I asked the Prophet, please ask Allah's forgiveness for me. The Prophet did not go to his wives because of the secret which Hafsa had disclosed to Aisha, and he said that he would not go to his wives for 1 month, as he was angry with them when Allah admonished him, for his oath that he would not approach Maria. When 29 days had passed, the Prophet went to Aisha first of all. She said to him, you took an oath that you would not come to us for 1 month, and today only 29 days have passed, as I have been counting them day by day. The Prophet said, the month is also of 29 days. That month consisted of 29 days. Aisha said, when the divine revelation of choice was revealed, the Prophet started with me, saying to me, I am telling you something, but you needn't hurry to give the reply till you can consult your parents. Aisha knew that her parents would not advise her to part with the Prophet. The Prophet said that Allah had said, O Prophet, say to your wives, if you desire the life of this world and its glitter, then come. I will make a provision for you and set you free in a handsome manner. But if you seek Allah and His Apostle, and the home of the hereafter, then verily, Allah has prepared for the good doers amongst you a great reward. 33.28 Aisha said, am I to consult my parents about this? I indeed prefer Allah, His Apostle, and the home of the hereafter. After that the Prophet gave the choice to his other wives, and they also gave the same reply as Aisha did. Narrated as, Allah's Apostle took an oath that he would not go to his wives for 1 month, as his foot had been sprained. He stayed in an upper room when Ammar went to him and said, have you divorced your wives? He said, no, but I have taken an oath that I could not go to them for 1 month. The Prophet stayed there for 29 days, and then came down and went to his wives. Narrated Jabir, the Prophet entered the mosque, and I too went there after tying the camel at the pavement of the mosque. I said, to the Prophet, this is your camel. He came out and started examining the camel and said, both the camel and its price are for you. Narrated Hudayfa, I saw Allah's Apostle coming, or the Prophet came, to the dumps of some people and urinated the while standing. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, while a man was on the way, he found a thorny branch of a tree there on the way and removed it. Allah thanked him for that deed and forgave him. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet judged that 7 cubits should be left as a public way when there was a dispute about the land. Narrated Abdullah bin Yazid al-Ansari, the Prophet forbade robbery, taking away what belongs to others without their permission, and also forbade mutilation, or maiming, of bodies. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, when an adulterer commits illegal sexual intercourse, then he is not a believer at the time he is doing it, and when a drinker of an alcoholic liquor drinks it, then he is not a believer at the time of drinking it, and when a thief steals, then he is not a believer at the time of stealing, and when a robber robs, and the people look at him, then he is not a believer at the time of doing robbery. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, the hour will not be established until the son of Mary, that is Jesus, descends amongst you as a just ruler. He will break the cross, kill the pigs, and abolish the jizya tax. Money will be in abundance so that nobody will accept it as charitable gifts. Narrated Salama bin al-Aqwa, on the day of Kaaba the Prophet saw fires being lighted. He asked, why are these fires being lighted? The people replied that they were cooking the meat of donkeys. He said, break the pots and throw away their contents. The people said, shall we throw away their contents and wash the pots, rather than break them? He said, wash them. Narrated Abdullah bin Mas'ud, the Prophet entered Mecca and, at that time, there were 360 idols around the Kaaba. He started stabbing the idols with a stick he had in his hand and reciting, truth, Islam, has come and falsehood, disbelief, has vanished. Narrated Al-Qasim, Aisha said that she hung a curtain decorated with pictures of animates on a cupboard. The Prophet tore that curtain and she turned it into 2 cushions which remained in the house for the Prophet to sit on. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As, I heard the Prophet saying, whoever is killed while protecting his property then he is a martyr. Narrated Anas, while the Prophet was with one of his wives, one of the mothers of the believers, that is one of his wives, sent a wooden bowl containing food with a servant. The wife, in whose house he was sitting, stroked the bowl with her hand and broke it. The Prophet collected the shattered pieces and put the food back in it and said, eat. He kept the servant and the bowl till he had eaten the food. Then the Prophet gave another unbroken bowl to the servant and kept the broken one. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, there was an Israeli man called Juraj. While he was praying, his mother came and called him, but he did not respond to her call. He said to himself whether he should continue the prayer or reply to his mother. She came to him the second time and called him and said, O Allah, do not let him die until he sees the faces of prostitutes. Juraj used to live in a hermitage. A woman said that she would entice Juraj, so she went to him and presented herself for an evil act, but he refused. She then went to a shepherd and allowed him to commit an illegal sexual intercourse with her, and later she gave birth to a boy. She alleged that the baby was from Juraj. The people went to Juraj and broke down his hermitage, pulled him out of it and abused him. He performed ablution and offered the prayer, then he went to the male baby, and asked him, O boy, who is your father? The baby replied that his father was the shepherd. The people said that they would build for him a hermitage of gold, but Juraj asked them to make it of mud only.